Go. Now, if you would, can't see anything, can we?
No.
Any lights in here? Ah, there we go. Can you see yourself?
Yeah, slightly.
Hey guys, this is Hank and Char, and we just did a quantum healing hypnosis therapy session, and I'm giving Char a ride home. She lives over in Europe right now, and she's visiting. She's actually from here, and she's a dear friend, and she just did a session. It was for her birthday, and it was pretty awesome. The first thing that happened was that she landed on a beautiful beach, and then there were some trees, and what do you call it, a hammock?
Mm-hmm.
And then she jumped in the hammock, and the cloud came down, swooped it up, and she was gone. And what were you just saying about how you were on the clouds?
I was saying that before you told me I should travel, I was already traveling. I left the beach, and I was overhead some fields and valleys and mountains, and I knew that I was in France, but I didn't want to say I was in France because, I don't know, it just seemed cliche. Anyway, so I was in France.
But why do you think it would be cliche when you just arrived? So
I don't know. I mean, it's like one of these things where you weren't leading me. You weren't planting any suggestions. It was my mind that was saying.
So you were fighting it, basically.
Yes, right.
Okay, resisting it.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but I accepted it because I told you the clouds set me down in the French chateau, and I was in my foyer. I was in my hallway in front of a mirror in the castle chateau in France, 1765.
That was awesome. When you said 1765, I just recently did another session with someone, last night or well, no, I posted it last night, but we had done it before, but they came back into Texas as well, and we discussed it, and I asked, could I post it, and they said yes, after we discussed it and listened to it, and it was in the 1700s as well, so, and that was amazing. And say your name again?
Marie Chanot.
I gave you a really strong suggestion that you would remember everything, and you absolutely did remember everything, which I thought was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Really amazing. And how far did we go into that?
There's a lot of detail there. You asked lots of questions about my living situation, and
you realized that you were a duchess.
Yes.
And you had a maid. Now, who was one of the chambermaids? What was her name? Do you remember?
Betty.
Betty. And I noticed you were actually using a French accent during the session. I'm going to post this session before I post this part. Can you see yourself at all?
Yes, I can see myself.
Oh, good. It'll be hard for them to see, but I have one where you can't see anything but orange, and and people have been listening to it. But this would, this is one of those, I'll call it a question and answer after the fact.
Okay.
And so that big castle, the wide stairwell, the whole way you described it, and then even the things that you were describing and with the clothing and the furniture or what have you. Are you familiar with? Do you remember any of the things that you were calling?
I have a little bit of a. I mean, I know. Yes, I described my clothing, and I knew that I knew what I was wearing.
Okay.
And I knew the furniture that was in my sitting area. In my bedroom, it didn't feel like I lacked the knowledge. I knew what was what.
And you had the accent. The purpose for me asking all those questions and all those details, the longer you're under, the longer your eyes are closed, and you went from beta into the alpha and then into the theta, the deeper and deeper you started getting. And so that's why I stayed focused there. I mean, you went there obviously for some reason, and we got to that later. And then you jumped to Chicago.
Yes, 1976, the bicentennial.
And you were at at first when you looked at your hands and you said your hands was green, and I was like, oh, that's okay. Because I was thinking, oh my gosh, she's an extraterrestrial. But then it was the
lights from the pyrotechnics.
Yes.
It was night.
And you were a male, and a white male,
Yes.
with hairy legs.
Yes.
Now, you said you were resistant to that. What do you think you were so resistant? Why were you resisting?
I think being an African American female, I was thinking more like, why am I not channeling, myself? Why am I channeling, a French duchess and then a white lawyer in Chicago in the 70s?
But you were. And the part that I thought was really interesting about it is that you were born at the same time that personality came through.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
I was
9 years old.
Or 11.
So
11.
Can you, like I was saying, we are multidimensional. And I mean, I didn't even ask later on as we got through it. I should have asked your higher self, did you realize that how multidimensional, 2 lives being lived simultaneously? And you got back to your place, and once again, you're in a high rise with an incredible view in Chicago and working as a lawyer, someone prominent with,
Yes.
to do. And
Yes.
it was very good and a classy place. I was thinking, okay, they're having a party, but it was, how did you describe it?
It was very low key. It was just background music. I mean, we were celebrating the bicentennial. It was, the 200-year anniversary of America, and we were celebrating, watching the fireworks, and then the celebration moved back to our apartment.
And you actually said the address on Lakeshore Drive. I used to live in Chicago. Did you know that?
I think you told me that.
Have you ever lived in Chicago?
No.
Oh, okay. So are you familiar with Lakeshore Drive then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I was just like, that was awesome. I said, you're calling it. I was like, oh, I used to live there. I really like it whenever I induce someone into a trance state and they start pulling up places that either they've never been and they're calling addresses and that type of thing, and you Google it and find like, wow, that place actually exists.
Yeah,
it's there right now, so.
I will Google that address.
Awesome, because that was really clear.
Yeah.
Now, you had been under, at that point, maybe 22 minutes or so, even longer than that?
I think a little longer, maybe.
It was, because then we did another
minutes.
17, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's when I'm like, okay, let's, I took you upstairs to your room to the closet.
Yes.
And the light in the closet. There's all kind of ways that I like to slide the client into bringing a spiritual entity forward, or someone, a guide or archangel or guardian angel, however you want to say it, to come forward. And so I like the closet. You're looking at the closet. She said, was the light on or off in the closet? Do you remember?
It was off.
The light was off, yes.
It was on in the hallway.
And then I said that the light began to glow, but I didn't say what color. What color did you say the light was?
Magenta.
Yeah, magenta. And it was really, I kept trying to tell you to talk louder, Tell me again, why did you think that you were speaking so softly?
Well, I felt very relaxed, first of all, and in my space there just wasn't a need to speak very loudly. I felt actually kind of restricted from speaking loudly. To me, it felt like if I spoke louder, it would disturb the space.
Oh, understood. And here I'm talking all loud because I'd had a desire to, of course, film it and then expose it to the subscribers.
Yeah, you were fine. I was totally relaxed. It didn't create any disturbance in me at all. But
as you were listening back, could you like when I was doing other things, could you hear yourself?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, and I know some people probably have better systems than I have, and to hear, and that's a pretty good system there. I can't wait to download it into the computer and post it so I can listen to it back and see how good the audio is.
Yeah.
And so here comes out of this closet as the light comes out, and the color is magenta, you just said. And who came out first but a Mongolian warrior. And now at that point, I had too many things locked on the computer, on the tablet, so we were losing time, and it started kicking me off. And so when I had finally gotten it back on, and I didn't delete anything, I knew I should have, I had you describe them again.
Yes.
And just all the sharp answers, and you said, once again, I'll let you say it, why you thought he was speaking so sharply.
Because he was very anxious about, was I following the strategy? If I was following, he was my lieutenant. I was his captain or his general. And he followed me in battle. And he is, I don't call on him very often, but when I do, he knows he needs to be prepared. And so his anxiety was the fact that he was being called upon, and so he came ready for combat. He came ready for some action, and so it took.
And he spoke in a certain way. I mean, it was very, one sharp answers, yes, and
yes.
I thought that was really cool. And what was really interesting is you said that the fairy had to push him out. Remember? You said she was dragging him or pushing him out?
Yes, she was pushing him out. The fairy was, she was like the orchestra leader. She was the one pushing people, Hold on. Is that No. I'm sorry. I got it all. I got it a little discombobulated. Well, she pushed the bear and the river out, but
she pushed. Yes.
The warrior came on his own.
Yes, the warrior came out first, and then the light went yellow. And I thought, I said it was something feminine or pretty, and then you said it was yellow.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. And then you say a big 5'7" fairy with big, huge wings comes out, who was, I don't know, you almost, as you were describing to me, I was feeling like she was almost like a lesbian or whatever.
No, she's totally not.
Totally not lesbian, but you said she was really, really beautiful, but she was very strong and
but she was
assertive, and
she had like vacillating skin color, like as like a kaleidoscope.
Oh wow!
Her skin changed,
iridescent, like
more like a color panel. Like her whole face was changing blue. They were blues, like the whole blue family.
Oh wow! See, you hadn't said that before. This is why I love this part afterward. I'm going to make it a part of my...
I was describing her as, remember I said blue and teal, and
yes.
That's what I was trying to describe. But she didn't speak. She was non-communicable, but
non-verbal.
Right. She was not verbal, but she spoke. She was very good with emotions and communicating differently.
And you were getting I know you had to be getting some type of telepathic signals, because I mean, some of the questions, I don't know, I haven't experienced that yet, but I mean, you were very particular about particular answers and questions and things like that was coming from her. Yes. How did it feel to be able to, that you were so easy to be able to communicate? Well, she's your higher self, so
I was comfortable. The answers came very quickly. I knew what she wanted. I knew what she was saying without having to do any confirmation.
Awesome.
There was no communication barrier.
And I thought that was really interesting. One thing that you said, that some questions that I asked, she was reluctant about answering because
she wasn't sure what my reaction would be. It was like I think she sensed my resistance and wanted to go cautiously, like maybe like confirming certain things so quickly would maybe create some turmoil or something within me.
Okay, she was very conscious of how you were going to react to what was being said.
Yes, I would say yes, that was accurate.
I just thought that it was really interesting that she said that she was excited to meet me.
Yes.
I mean, those were your words, and no one so far on all the quantum healing hypnosis therapy sessions, save one person always questions things, and that's just her personality, and I understand that. You know, no one ever questions anything. You know, I can tell people are listening, and I can even see what percentage of how much is being watched or what have you, which is a pretty fair amount. But I know that I'm not leading it. But when I hear a question like that and you say she's excited, I'm like, why is she excited? And I asked you this already, but just since we're taping this and everything, why was she excited? Why, you know? Oh, well, she said, oh, I'm sorry, I'll let you.
I think she was excited because maybe my reaction, although I was resistant, I also was really open. And maybe she was excited because, I don't know, maybe...
I think she was happy for you when you went on ahead and answered the question of what she said. Like, oh, okay, my girl, she's tripping on this or whatever. Because I was at first wondering if it was something that I wasn't supposed to know yet.
No,
but
if you notice, many times she said yes. She says. So for me, it was clearly a separation of myself, my resistant self, and the fairy. Like, I felt like I had to not compromise her words. And so that's why I said she says.
Okay.
I didn't want to, you know...
Seem like you're interpreting what she says, but as she said it. And the most interesting part about it is she still wasn't saying anything, but she obviously said so much.
Yeah.
Get off my ankles.
Yes, I didn't want to not represent her speaking. So, although, you know, it was like I said, it was this strange contradiction. It's like, you told me not to question things, but of course I did.
You still were, yeah. A lot of people, whenever they're under, because it's so amazing and it's so real. I mean, at one point, she reaches, I asked you to, you said she's flying around and she wanted to, how did you say, do music or something?
She was
Riding. And she was riding with her wings in the sky.
No, it was like dust.
Oh, fairy dust.
I guess. Dust. She was making letters in the sky, like in ampersands and musical notes and letters. And
when I even thought that I wanted her to take you,
I was already flying.
You had already been flying, and then after I was saying things after it had already happened. That's why I always say I get so psychically in tune to what's going on, and I'm always like it's always after the fact. So many people have come out of it and says, when you said this started happening, and then all of a sudden later on you're like, well, why don't you join them? It's like, and you're like, oh, it's too late. I've already joined them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love that when that happens. And when you corrected me when I said her name, I was like Glinda the Good Witch, and she says no, Glinda.
Yeah, she corrected you.
That was really awesome. Man, just considering the conversation we had before this began, because that was pretty much the interview. Dolores Cannon says that you should interview the person for about 2 hours. And, you know, so when we were talking earlier, how do you feel when they said that about our connection? You said it. I just asked, and, you know, because you could have said anything. You could have said, no, we're not connected. This is just one of those things. But what did she say? She said,
you asked if we knew each other, and she said, she nodded yes, very, very emphatically. And you asked if we had a connection, and she just said she was joining hands. And so we interpreted as being friends.
Okay.
And you asked about any further collaborations on different levels, and her hesitation was more, maybe she was certain about certain things, but she was less certain about
how you were.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
So she was going very cautiously.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not going to say if she decides to, or if what I'm saying is not too much for you, but you handled it like a champ. I just want, a lot of times, well, my desire is, in us doing this interview, is how much do you actually think that I was leading you, or do you think I was leading you at all?
I don't think you were leading me. I think...
I mean, I took you there for sure. Do you know what I'm saying in that sense? But
I don't think that you were... I mean, your questions were open-ended questions, but it was open-ended questions to elicit more information. So I don't think, and you know, my response, at least I felt my responses were very quick.
They were, yes. That's what I loved.
And there were times when there was some hesitation. And that was like the internal struggle, like, what? That's what you want me to say? I'm not saying that. That makes no sense.
I love it.
You know? I mean, so, you know, it was just like that moment, like, what? No. But then it was just like, you know, it's okay.
That's the part that I like, that I love the best about the interview. That's why when we finished, I was like, oh my God, that was really awesome. I mean, the fact that you took on a French accent, and then when you were the military man, all of a sudden you're all stern and one quick, sharp answers.
Yes, I
and
felt
then
that.
As you're relaying information that's more cosmic and universal, she's very hesitant and protective that, you know, we're not giving you too much information and that you can handle it and that you wouldn't even mind, because she did answer it to you.
Yeah.
But then your reluctance to saying, oh my God, saying that out loud, I don't know. I'm really excited about this session, and I'm so happy that we did this.
Me too.
I'm really, really happy.
It was really interesting. I mean, I definitely felt the shift. I mean, you didn't make any suggestions on the manifestations. I mean, you didn't say, you said someone will come out, but you didn't say
who's coming out.
Right. And I had one, I guess, 3 real people, and the other 3 were not real, or, you know, not people, or whatever.
So what, the fairy?
The fairy, the bear, and the river.
Oh, so
well, technically the Mongolian, but I guess he was a person.
And what did we both hear his name to be?
Khan. But I didn't want to say it.
And you didn't want to say it, and I heard it, and I just didn't say anything. Yeah. I just knew, okay, that's Khan.
I did not say his name.
The only thing that I was going to ask, because I was thinking, is this Abraham's Khan? Because Abraham had a big, huge guy come out. His name was Khan, and that's Abraham's higher self. Now, who did we realize when we were saying, oh, I said your guides, so these were your guides that were all coming through. Now, tell me when we're
gonna keep going straight. So
okay,
you can stay in this lane.
Okay. We're driving north in Houston, and obviously we're inside the vehicle, and that's Char that you can see there answering the questions. And don't show me, I'll probably look all swollen and everything. Oh, as a matter of fact, you know what? Go ahead, you can hold it up. Hey guys, that's enough. Oh, don't. I don't like to see myself on camera unless the camera's like over my head and, you know.
Yes, I know, a better angle.
Yes, exactly.
I should do that.
There you go. Oh, there I am.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Blanche says on, okay. So, I think we covered it all, huh?
I think so.
Well, listen, anytime you want to do this, most definitely. I know you're in Europe, but there is Skype, and I have Skype on that thing. It's pretty powerful. I've done sessions online with Skype, and so you think you might be interested in possibly doing another session with me?
I think it'd be interesting. The next session.
So this time you will have an opportunity to make you a list of questions, even once you hear this again, and if you had more questions to ask on it, and you know, when we did get to the river, as opposed to asking, is this it?
Next exit, yes.
And as the very next exit?
Yes, the very next one.
This one here?
Uh-huh.
Okay. When we got to the river, when the last thing that came out of the closet was a river that Galinda opened up the portal for and let the river flow through. And you said the river was endless.
Yes.
I mean, come on, to me that was so symbolic of this eternal energy flowing through, and you described it. Describe the river again, just, you know, while you're conscious.
Yes, it was at first glance it was just a regular river, and then it kind of transitioned into a reflection, very sparkly, very reflectionary.
Beautiful.
But as you got closer, there were crystals in the river, and then you asked me to pick up a crystal, but it wasn't really a crystal. At the light, you're gonna make a right. So at the light.
Okay.
But it wasn't a crystal. The water actually formed crystals, but once you handled it, the water flowed. The crystal turned into liquid form, and it covered your body like a coating, and you became crystal. I became crystal.
I mean, you guys, listen to what she just said. She says after she picked up this crystal, it covered her whole body almost like a cocoon, and she became crystalline in nature. I mean, come on, it doesn't get any more awesome than that when you think of the lingo that's going on, that we're going from carbon base to a crystalline base, and then there you are bathed in this water. So I ask that you were to just feel it and let it go through your body, and, you know, heal what needs to be healed, open up what doors need to be open, reap onto your Kundalini or your DNA. That was nice. And how did it feel?
It was rejuvenating. It was very energetic, and it was, you could feel the warmth and the flow. It wasn't scary at all. I was very nervous because it was all encompassing, but it wasn't frightening.
Because I asked you to step into it, but I didn't want it to sweep you away. And so I didn't even have to call your higher self forward, even though all your guides had come through or whatever. And I don't know, something was telling me it was time to bring you out, and I did. And how do you see? I have the last couple people that I induced, they were sore, but they're not as open and loving. I mean, not to say that they're not loving, but you have a certain energy already, a high vibration. You know what I mean? That's why when we first met, we were like pretty instant, and it's no wonder, once again, I do a session with you and they say that we're connected, and I always love that. So I'm really happy that we've done this together.
That was nice.
And
very nice, very interesting.
All right.
No, I didn't have a problem waking up. My body felt, I don't want to say sore, but definitely I felt like I'd woken from a long hibernation, and so there was a bit of stiffness and, you know, kind of getting the circulation going again.
Yes, absolutely. How long did it seem like we were under, though?
I didn't have a sense of time.
Excellent. You know, it's really interesting about it, but I reinforce over and over that when you were in the water, that your genius, your inner genius was going to come forward, and your memory was going to be phenomenal. Do you think that helped at all with that suggestion?
I don't know, because I felt connected the whole time. Like I didn't feel like I wouldn't remember at any point. I mean, like I didn't remember Henry's name, and I didn't make the connection that was your name either.
You're right. That was awesome.
I didn't make the connection. We could just stay behind him.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna open the gate.
Oh, so we can go and get you all the way close. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh no, then you could just let me out. That way you don't have to go around.
Oh, I don't care.
No, you'll get lost.
Oh please, how am I gonna get lost?
I don't know.
I'm a soldier. You don't understand.
It's open. You just keep going. Keep going.
It's open?
Yeah.
Okay.